We all go a little mad sometimes.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
They're here.
Hi, I'm Lee, and I want to be in the sequel.
And I'm Nathan, and I'd rather be killed off.
And you're listening to
They're here. A discussion
a disembowelment,
of all things horror,
fear, and the macabre.
So, first fucking episode with, you won't fucking believe it, an actual music intro. Did you guys hear that? Fucking sick.
Cue the track.
What did you think of it, Lee? Do you like it?
I love it. It's like our friend Gemma Munley, let's just shout it out. She really helped formulate this track, and she really took all of her notes and said, say no more, and came back with something like just delicious. I love it.
You know, the snail from SpongeBob, he said, say no more.
Oh god, that lady's titties were hilarious, bro.
So,
Shit.
yeah, no, this music, this intro that we have it's a real kind of, I don't want to sound corny, but it is a passion project. It was really a great collaboration between ourselves and our quote-unquote musical producer, Gemma Munley. If you want to go follow her, get in contact with her for any kind of intros that you might be interested in doing or anything like that, go look up at Jemski_Floblowski, my name input there. And also, before we move on, we do want to actually point out that the original audio, the theme music that we used that was edited together by Gemma, is by White Bat Audio. And if you want some really, really cool, really cool 80s synth, like hard rock, like just creepy, completely royalty free, yeah. With some really, really great audio, some great music. We were super into this, so as soon as we came across it, we were like, yeah, that's it, that's the one. We were sold immediately on it. So big shout out to at Jemski_Floblowski and at Whitebat Audio. You guys are fantastic, and we deep friends of the pod, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, I love it.
Always love that input, Lee. Always love it.
I love it, yeah.
So what do you got for me today?
So today is actually our first fan-voted movie.
Yeah.
We decided to switch up the formula a little, give it back to you guys, our dear beloved listeners, to wrap up our quote horror with the subtitles month on, which doesn't really apply here. So this week we're wrapping up our foreign cinema month, a 3-week month, whatever. And we're wrapping up with the absolute Italian classic. It's absolutely Italian, with the classic Black Sunday, Mario Bava's first movie, directorial debut.
Yes, it was his directorial debut. I absolutely love 1960. I want to say 1960, right on the dot. Yeah. I love this movie. Like, you guys voted on this. It was a total landslide. You did not want to go with Guillermo del Toro, so that's fine. I can forgive you. We'll eventually get to it.
Shout out Lena, who voted for my movie. Love you, bitch.
Love you, Lena. You're awesome. Keep listening. We really value you as a customer listener.
We love her. Everybody needs a Lena in life. So, Black Sunday.
Well,
also known as The Mask of the Demon in Italy.
Mask of the Demon, or The Mask of Satan, as the USA put it out as. And then obviously the English changed it to Black Sunday for whatever reason. Before we kind of get into this, I do want to say, we last night when I watched this movie and I was taking my notes, these notes in front of me are fucking hilarious, bro. I tell you that much. I watched this stoned off my tits. Not even a word of a lie. I smoked a big fat J before I watched this movie. And mate, it just made it more funnier for me. And these notes that I have, oh, you're gonna love it. It's great.
Yeah, same. Me too. But yeah, you weren't the only one that was a little bit lit up last night. I had me a couple of cute cocktails before I watched this movie. God damn it! But I just want to say, like right off the top, I fucking loved this movie. This movie was so much fun.
Yes, I did too. I normally, when it comes to like films like this that are sort of like, they're very much all over the place, and this film is no exception. It's very much all over the place with its plot and its, you know, everything. But I had a good time watching it, and weirdly enough, if you actually want to go watch this film yourselves, you can find it online, in certain places, YouTube. That you can find it there, and it's really simple. Now, the one thing that I did notice when I did find it, as I told you this, was that there's loads of the versions of this on YouTube, but none of them are in Italian or subtitled. They're all dubbed over in English, and there's 3 versions of the English dub, as far as I know.
I also, forgive me for not doing research, but this gave me like very big like Suspiria vibes, where it's like, I think like it, like probably everybody spoke Italian and they were like, just speak English as best as you can, and we'll dub over, because the words do like somewhat sync up to the lips, you know. But again, like things like that I always find like super charming and like super endearing in a movie. Like it doesn't really like take me out of it, you know. But I was also like, okay, I'm gonna go and have to like find a copy of this with English subtitles, because I'm not about to like pretend I speak Italian. So yeah. But yeah, this movie was a fucking blast. I thought it was so fun. It's actually a very good movie to watch if you're like a little bit fucked up. There was more than a couple of moments where I was like, wait, what? What the the first being the literal like opening credits to this movie, where I was fully like, great, I'm gonna sit down and watch Black Sunday, and then like Mask of Satan pops up, and I was like, that's how I know I'm gonna enjoy this movie, when like the original title is still on it. You know what I mean? They didn't bother to go back and change that shit.
I love it. I think it's great. This movie, like you were saying there, like reminded me very much of Suspiria. Now, obviously, Suspiria came out in the late 70s. This one came out in the 60s, and like you can very much feel those vibes, the sort of beginnings of the giallo horror genre, specifically in this film. But it's very heavily German expressionism. Especially in this opening scene. I really gotta kind of put it out there that definitely with this, like, I want to say the first 5 minutes of the film, which is this kind of execution burning scene, is very much German expressionist, and I love it. I think it's beautifully shot.
Yeah, it's very much so like a very definite marriage of like that kind of like Italian cinema, which was like really starting to like become on the rise in the 70s and 60s, and that German expressionism kind of a couple of years before this. You know, this is like when this is kind of starting to die out. It's when we start to get more modern horror. I believe Psycho came out the same year.
I think so.
I could be fucking lying to you, but this is like right where like 60s is like right where we start to move away from kind of gothic horror and science fiction into more kind of real world, almost true crimey kind of things. But yeah, this is like kind of quintessential Italian cinema. Not only because it's made by like literally fucking Mario Bava, but also it's like everybody in this movie is gorgeous. There's more than one human chair of the week in this movie. I'll let you know. I will take several seats. Yeah, for real.
Musical chairs up in here.
Yeah, for real. For real. It's full cell block tango, but it's just all men's faces. It's that scene from fucking Cabaret, Mein Hair, where she's like doing the chair dance. But it's just like the prince from this movie or something.
So actually the first thing I really kind of get into was there was a production company that sounded a lot like Gelateria, and I remember messaging you this, and I literally just says, did a gelato store sponsor this movie?
Okay, if you guys could see, because Nathan, you watched this a couple hours before I did. I didn't end up watching this until like literally like 1 a.m. I got all of these notes. I got a note from Nathan that was like, I just smoked a huge day. I'm gonna go watch this movie, and then like an hour later, I got all of these notes like, what the fuck is happening on this? Why is Dracula an influence on this fucking movie? For real, I got like 8 questions in one message.
I even said, like, I wrote this down as, like, did the clan fucking, like, burn this witch? Because, like, the amount of people in, like, pointy black hoods, and I was like, what is going on here?
Actually, just like, speaking of this opening scene, I fucking love this opening scene.
Yes.
It's, like, everything I want from, like, a witch trial movie. Like,
Yes.
It's brutal. It's, like... It's gorgeous, and like I just want to say, like, the black and white. This movie is in black and white, but like this movie, like there's something about black and white movies that were shot in black and white that are just so crisp and so beautiful. This is like the same kind of praises we gave to Dracula, where it's like the blacks in this movie are so black,
yes,
and like everything is so crisp and so the contrast is gorgeous.
Yes,
but this opening, it's like. I see a lot of where Rob Zombie kind of got like inspiration for Lords of Salem, the kind of opening for that movie, the opening witch trial. There's like executioners and they're topless and they got the hoods on and like they got mallets and there's like people in robes and it's stunning. It's so stunning. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, this sort of like this whole opening scene, just to give context, actually, I mean, it's basically, it is a witch trial. She is basically
question mark
execution. They're like, yeah, we know you're a witch. You're at the blah blah, but also point out the fact that like we first of all we find out she's a witch, then we find out she's a vampire, then we find out she's a bride of Satan, then something else and something else. I mean, the plot just becomes so convoluted throughout this film that when you really kind of get into this like whole the rest of the movie, like you're just looking at it going, what, why, what's going on
yeah
So
yeah,
with
it was
this,
like a very very fun riddle, this fucking movie, where it's like, okay, so she's a witch and a vampire and a ghost
and a zombie
and possessing someone and a zombie in the, because this is pre Night of the Living Dead, so this is like zombie in the like voodoo kind of sense, where somebody's just like under your hex, like somebody's under your spell kind of thing.
Yeah, I really enjoy this whole opening because number one, obviously it sets up the plot for later, because like I believe her name is Aja or Asha, the witch, Aza, yeah, she is basically cursing her brother's family. Her brother is the executioner, cursing his bloodline to say in 100 years I'll return with revenge and blah blah blah. And then obviously, which were hinted at later on, that this has happened before. I think even you said that to me, that this has happened before. And she's basically like, I'm going to come back in 100 years and I'm going to fuck up your family for everything you've done to me. I'll return. Yeah,
I know, I love it, for real. So like the opening narration kind of in this movie is great. They speak about Satan as if it's like a pandemic, where it's like Satan is widespread across Europe.
Yeah,
all this kind of stuff. This is like 400 like or so like years ago. Like this opening scene, it's like actual like 1600s kind of shit. And it's basically like giving us kind of like small backstory that it's like people are turning on brothers and mothers are turning on fathers. Everybody is exposing everybody to kind of like rid like the world of Satan at this time. And this brother, is basically like, you're a fucking witch, asshole. And she's like, well, fuck you. The elements are gonna come get you. And they drive this fucking mask of Satan. This is something that like kind of comes up throughout this movie. There's 2 masks of Satan in this movie, which are like kind of, they almost look tribal.
Mm-hmm.
They're like these big kind of like Iron Maiden masks, because they've got like the same feature as like the inside of an Iron Maiden. It's like a big wooden mask with all these like metal like nails on the inside of it. And I'm actually surprised at how kind of brutal this movie was for 1960.
Yeah.
Like, we get some kind of like visceral violence, and they don't really cut away. All the violence that is shown on screen is actually shown on screen. They don't do the kind of typical like hold the stake up and then go to raise the hammer and then we pan away. Like, we see stuff happening. We see people get stabbed and shit.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. I really do. I think it's like that whole shot, I think I even remember saying that to you, was like, I thought they would cut away from it, but no, he picks up that mallet, the guy, the shirtless guy with the hood on, and he drives the mask straight into her face. She doesn't scream. She gives off this kind of guttural roar, and like, and then she dies, and I was like, oh fuck. Oh, I didn't think they would do that in the 60s, but holy shit. Italians, man.
Well, that's kind of, again, like, kind of what, like, Italian horror would become, like, synonymous with, is, like, gorgeous people and, like, kind of visceral gore. Like, we'll get that kind of in the next, like, 10 years or so from Italy, that, like, it's just, it's, like, American horror, like, amplified.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, like, again, that's kind of like a European thing, that like the Europeans are a lot more kind of liberal and like open-minded when it comes to like nudity and like art in general. You know?
Freedom of expression.
Europeans have freedom of expression. Exactly. Yeah. But God, that's my first note. I was like, fuck, the way this mallet meets this mask. It's I kind of can't even describe it. It's like whatever way it's filmed, it just shows that there's like a huge amount of impact on this mask.
It like boom. Yeah.
Like, it's like nailed it right into her head. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. And also her
this is something I kind of wanted to really quickly say was so Aza and Javatic, I don't really know, because it's also based in Moldova. It's not based in Italy, it's based in Moldova, this movie. So the names are kind of either hard to understand or we have no idea what the name is. So Javatic is specifically mentioned now in the English version. He's specifically mentioned as a as an acolyte to Asha. Like, he serves her. He's the this sort of just the servant, the guy who will do whatever she wills him to do. He has kind of no mind of his own.
Her Igor, in a way.
Yes, her Igor. But the Italian version also does mention that they're actually brother and sister, and it also hints at an incestuous relationship between the two of them, because he's also desperately in love with the witch. So but being the era between the 60s and the 80s, most of these as this film grew in popularity after the 60s, it became a video nasty, so they dubbed over it again, hence why there's 3 to 4 different versions of this in English. That they sort of hid away that, because it was like, well, we don't kind of talk about that. So yeah, there was some really kind of cool stuff.
There's kind of a lot in this movie anyway, incest like aside. There's like, it's quite violent for like the time. I was not expecting it.
Yeah, it's very how do I explain it? It's like, again, it's Italian, so you can see the precursors to the giallo horror, the blood, the guts, the drama of it all, and the overacting. The extreme amount of overacting in this is just, I think I even said that to you.
I didn't find it so crazy.
Not crazy, but just an extreme amount of like, all of that kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, for real.
I do actually want to point out, I found this out, I think it's so cool. You know you've done really fucking well when Tim Burton shows up and says, this is my favorite horror movie.
I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that influence. It's like even the cover of this movie, like the poster, looks like a Tim Burton illustration.
Yes.
It's Azra's eyes that are just like huge and like affixed, and they're like covered in black. It's grey, and she's like kind of skeletal on the front, you know. Yeah. And we actually get that imagery kind of throughout this movie is like they focus a lot on her eyes in this movie, and there's kind of a bunch of where we see just like staring. There's like one scene, I believe, where the doctors is like out by a pond or whatever like that, and she just like appears in the pond. It's great, very the Lady of the Lake Excalibur kind of thing. I love.
I appreciate the kind of introductions that they start having, and then obviously the homages that are made. Like now, like, because you and I, we've never seen this one before, so we've only seen much later iterations of different kinds of films, like Suspiria. We don't hearken to that over the time, but like we can consistently see like where certain horror tropes and things kind of sort of find the precursors in this film quite a lot, hence like the eyes, all that kind of thing. I think it's a very strong influence that this film can really create.
Yeah. Also, speaking of kind of inspirations, you said it last night, but also it's kind of unmistakable, but not annoying. This movie, you can tell, is like very heavily inspired by Dracula.
Yes. Oh my God.
But I liked it though, because it wasn't carbon copy. Like it wasn't enough for me to be like, fuck this movie. But like, it took what I liked about Dracula and used it very well in this. Like I said, kind of at the start, the cinematography, photography also done by Mario Bava. It's just stunning. And even the kind of crypt, it's like that design of like the arches like underneath the house. It's so Dracula's castle. Yeah. Like it's so very definitely Dracula's castle. But yeah, it's just a stunning movie.
There is one thing, like speaking of like Dracula and things like that, both Francis Ford Coppola and Richard Donner, they were both heavily influenced by this movie, and Coppola actually used several scenes from this film as references in his version of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And then Donner,
my favorite part.
Yeah, Stan, deep Stan. And then Donner used his whole scene from, you know, that scene in the cemetery where he goes to find the evidence of his actual child. That whole cemetery scene is inspired by the shot of Asha with the two dogs in the cemetery, and I think that's so cool. I really do appreciate like a good deep homage to like previous movies.
I could definitely see that. I mean, like it's the dragon emblem is like huge in Ford Coppola's Dracula, and it's actually kind of layered all over here, and like it's actually very specific. It's not just a dragon; it's almost like a dragon phoenix kind of thing, where it's like a dragon with like feathers, you know. Yeah. And that sigil is all over this movie, especially because this movie takes place on St. George's Day, which is the whole celebration of when St. George defeated the dragon. You know, it's where we get the Welsh flag and all that kind of stuff from.
It's also that whole thing happens when so like the whole plot sort of happens within 2 days. And the beginnings of that, sort of the ends of that, which is the witch failing and blah, 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 St. George conquering the devil, blah, 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 St. George, the feast of St. George that day. And then the previous night, I pointed out, I was like, hold on. So if it happens on St. George's, the feast of St. George, then it must be the night that the witch rises and comes out of her coffin and all of that kind of thing. That's Walpurgis night. And I was like, holy shit, because it's literally Night of the Witches. And I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that. And I was like, fuck, that's so smart.
I'm going to come back on a time that I scheduled 100 years ago on the most inconvenient night for me possible. What could fucking go wrong, bro?
And I have a theory.
I don't get it. Like, when I woke up this morning, like you called me this morning or whatever like that, and we had a kind of like, man, what the fuck was this movie? Like, very quick conversation, whatever. And I was like, why would you schedule shit like that? If I was gonna come and plot to do some shit, right? Especially like trying to like swap bodies with somebody, like real discreet, like I wouldn't announce it. I wouldn't be telling everybody. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. By the way, everybody, wait for this day, because even before anything happens, the like current kind of iteration of this family, the like current
Lords
like
and
father of
ladies.
this family
Yeah.
is already like super freaking worried and like freaked out and stuff. And he's like seeing all of these like little signs and stuff. He's talking about like a man behind the wall or a man in the fireplace, and then he's like noticing that the painting and everything is different. And god damn it, like what's her fucking name, Katya? She's like, so Katya is played by Barbara Steele. She also plays Asa, and they're identical, like down to eyeliner and everything. They don't change one thing. Exactly. This bitch had like a Brigitte Bardot like updo and bang, and like little like kitty eyeliner in the 1600s. What the fuck, bro? It don't make no fucking sense. But her father basically is like, very kind of like paranoid, and it's her father, and her brother Constantine. They're like the current royals of this area. Like the soon-to-be victims, I guess. They're the ones that are like supposed to be like taken out of the way. And they were introduced to two doctors who are my first human chairs of the week. God damn it. Like, the men in this movie are fucking beautiful. Even the ones that are supposed to be like quote unquote not still are. You know what I mean? Like, Asa's great now, but her dad could fucking get it, bro.
Speaking of which, actually, Katya, who played by Barbara Steele, Barbara Steele was only about 25, 26 at the time of this filming, as far as I know. And also, not to mention, her dad, the guy who plays her dad, is 35. There's only 10 years roughly in the difference between...
You are taking this shit, Nathan.
Yes.
No way.
He was 35 when they filmed the movie.
35?
Yeah. It's
that man is 10 years older than me in this movie.
Daddy, I guess. Yeah.
Also, I do want to point out, though, I think that there's also men wearing wigs in this movie.
Yes.
And I noticed that I see 1960 trying to be slick with your little lace fronts, right? There's a couple of scenes where you can see men with like very specific spots of tension around their hairline, which means wig. It's fucking crazy.
Oh my God.
I can't get over that. A, she is my age in this movie, and B, her dad is only 10 years older than her.
Yeah.
She seems to have lived. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's I guess cold cream isn't cutting it. She looks like a mature 25.
Yeah.
Let's just say. No shade, Barbara Steele. But damn.
Yeah. I know, that's after blowing your mind. That's crazy. I know, it's like, because I thought that's so interesting to, like, the irony that Bava would have hired a guy that's literally, I mean, like, this guy looks like he's meant to be in his 50s, right? And yet he looks, and yet his actual age, he's only 10 years older than the youngest actor in the movie. And I was like, for fuck's sake, bro.
It's that, though. Oh my god, this dad. Holy shit. Like, we get, like, good facial hair in this movie. We get, like, nice, heavy eyebrows and shit. Strong noses. Oh.
German, yeah.
Oh my god. I literally have the note. I was like, I want this dude to pick me up, choke slam me onto a bearskin rug in front of this huge open fire, and do my fucking back in, bro. For real. But okay, these two doctors that we're introduced to, Dr. Thomas Kruvian, Andrei Gorbeck. These two men are kind of our quote-unquote heroes, I guess. Even though, like, they're kind of passive. They kind of just get led through the movie and then are like, oh, I did it, see?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, they kind of just take the credit, I guess.
They're very much held by the hand, like, right through the movie until the younger of the two is forced to act by his own.
But even then, it's like, it's just the villagers that take care of everything.
Yeah.
Like at the end, just to spoil the end, pretty much like, no, you know what? We'll get there when we kind of get there. I don't want to jump around too much. I'm going to confuse myself. But yeah, goddamn.
I also do want to point out that I don't know if you noticed it, but vodka is everywhere in this movie. Vodka is everywhere.
Their carriage driver is full. Has like a full like wine bottle just filled. Like Jesus Christ.
Vodka
and they're
is
kind of
everywhere
going through
in
the
this movie, bro.
and he's like, "What are you, a fucking pussy? Here's some extra money. Go ahead, go right on through."
Yeah.
And they go through because he's like afraid of like a ghost / a witch. She's half woman, half witch, half ghost.
Yeah.
And they kind of like they're going through, and this again reminded me very much of Dracula, just the kind of like the coach kind of thing, like the idea of going through the kind of like European countryside sort of. And then something like happens, they like break down, and he's like, "Did we break down?" And he's like, "No, the wheel just fell out of its socket." I haven't done in a minute. So they go off to like, they like fuck off. And no, actually I had this note. I was like, oh, this is like number one like cardinal rule. They even call it out in Scream, where it's like they hear a strange noise coming from like over in the forest. And one of the doctors is like, "We should go over there and look and see what it is." And then they do.
I
You just
know.
find this like what I said when it arrived on screen. I said Carfax Aper. Like it was so that it was very that.
Yes, it is. I mean, the one thing I really do want to talk about in this whole kind of like fucking like repeatedly throughout this part, these next few scenes, the doctors literally put their fucking foot in it the whole goddamn time. Number one, the guy points out the like some broken organs. He's like, "Oh yeah, see, this is the problem, and this is why." And what does he do? He fucking smashes the things to pieces. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Why the fuck would you do that? That's so fucking bad. It's literally a church. You're a literal dickhead. And then they go down into the crypt, and then they find As's coffin. Yes, and like you walk in there and like you would see that we literally did that. Yeah. We like they go down there and like they go over to the coffin, which is As's coffin. I also don't understand. You don't fucking bury a witch like that. I know there's actually cardinal rules to burying a witch, and those are not the fucking rules of a witch. So far as I know.
It's a movie.
You bury her in water. That's as much as I know. But they fucking leave. What the fuck is with the glass too? I don't fucking get it, bro. Like, what?
Well, no, I actually kind of like that they kind of like set up little rules in this movie and kind of stuck. When I say kind of stuck to them, I mean kind of, because there's some weird little like continuity errors in this. Basically, they're like, oh, if you picture like just like a regular crypt. Picture the end of Dracula with like one coffin like right in the middle, right? And they go over and it's like Snow White, almost like some satanic Snow White, where there's like a glass like window at the coffin, and they like fully don't question that there's like still just like a body in there. They're just like, oh yeah, this is great, wipe it off a little bit, look through. And he's like, yeah, she's got a mask of Satan on her, you know, like how they used to do to witches.
Yeah.
And the theory from them is that if you bury a witch with a cross in her sight, she'll be pinned by it forever. But that's also not a cross. It's like a completely other another symbol. I think it's Dave Navarro has it like tattooed on his chest. It's an alchemical symbol.
I thought it was one of those Byzantine crosses with the extra dash across that has the line underneath. I thought it was that.
Yeah, it's a cross with 3 like strikes going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But their theory is that it like pins the witch down so that she cannot like
get back
it
up
or whatever. And then they steal from the fucking crypt. They now I'm not going to say that I wouldn't have done this, because I would have, but like if it was an abandoned fucking monastery, if I found some like Catholic remnants or whatever like that, I would take it. but not out of a grave. You know what I mean? They find this little like Catholic like.
It's St. George. It's a little prayer window for St. George. You put it on a shrine.
Yeah, it's got St. George and the like slaying the dragon or whatever like that. And this coachman is like very skittish, very like he gives me like the Cowardly Lion kind of vibes because he's very
drunk.
like, ooh.
he's pissed off his tree, man. He's been literally down
he's
in
like
vodka.
very like skittish and afraid. Like there's a couple of scenes in the or like a couple of moments in this scene where he's like, "What was that noise? Are you guys okay?" You know, like from outside. And like one of the doctors like sends away the young beautiful doctor to like go up and check on him or whatever like that. And then this bat.
God.
I almost don't want to give it to them and call it a bat. This
It's
looks like a
cloth.
piece, like a black tea towel. Yeah, that they strung up on two sides because they don't ever show the bat. They don't ever fully show it. We see like the lower third of one wing and then like the top half of the other kind of just like flop about. And then this
on
guy
a stick.
Exactly. This guy just takes out a gun and just shoots this thing and then just proceeds to like kick the shit out of it. And in the process manages to destroy like a stone coffin with his bare hand.
Yeah. Oh God.
After having just like recited, like he's the one that tells us the rules where he's like, the cross is here to like pin her down so she can't get up. Let me just like book it up.
And when they removed this mask, I was literally just when they lift, because they literally like pull off the demon mask or whatever, and like I literally could not think of anything else but someone needs to get Dr. Pimple Popper over here. She's got some boils that need popping. Look at this bitch, she's covered. Yeah.
I'd like to keep it on, please. Masks on at all times, ladies.
Yeah, keep it safe, keep it sanitized, pop the pimples.
6 feet away from the witch. Keep the mask on.
Is it the Black Plague? Is it the Black Plague?
Exactly. For him. You know, he pretty much like breaks entirely all of his old rules. And like they kind of low key go like grave robbing.
They do.
Like they just
really
like disturb the fuck out of this grave and then steal it from it.
Yeah. He ends up also like cutting I think it's his wrist or some such shit on the glass that he's broken, which eventually like later on that night it kind of it like I want to say it reinvigorates the witch or like wakes her up or something. Yeah.
This is also completely referenced. No, I'm like, whatever. This is also completely referenced in, I think it's the second Underworld movie where there is like one of the like head vampires or whatever like that is like buried in like a big kind of like tomb like that with kind of a glass panel. Yeah. And something happened, like a piece of blood like by happenstance happens to like get on his lip and that like starts the whole thing. Yeah. This is like I love watching old movies like this where you can really see how much has been taken from these. Yeah. And kind of brought like even up until like literally today, we see a lot of the references from older movies. Like when we were watching Night of the Living Dead, it's like we had seen that before, but like I had never like sat down and like been like, okay, let's take notes. Just so many references. Yeah. Like I love seeing where cliches kind of come from. Yeah. You know.
Let's just both drink water at the same time.
Yeah, cool. Me too.
Well,
water cooler section.
This kind of holds like follow up kind of shots of the witch raising her quote unquote acolyte brother / incestuous lover from the grave. Lover /
He's my lover and my brother. He's my lover and my brother. Yeah.
And he's sort of raised from the dead. Now he's got like the same kind of mask on or whatever. And this whole kind of like the hands kind of coming out of the grave very slowly. It's just so cool to me, and I think it's one of the more iconic shots in the film, apart from obviously like the ending with the witch burning and stuff and the mask getting hammered on. This was also like one of my favorite shots, was him literally like coming up out of the grave like that and just slowly walking, because the camera's further away from the grave than you would think, and he just comes toward the camera in a very kind of he's sort of reaching out for his sister, as far as and like I just think that's so cool. I think it's a really iconic shot for the film. Plus you also get this idea because the two doctors are like staying at this inn or whatever, and the mother turns around, she's like, you gotta go get milk or whatever, go get milk from the cow that's in the barn. And the kid goes,
I don't fucking care if you're afraid of dead people in the dark, go milk the fucking cow at night.
We need milk for the breakfast.
He needs some milk. Yeah.
Great acting again, might I say. And the girl goes out, like the whole same time that the guy is coming out of the grave, Yavatich is coming out of the grave. It makes you think that he's going to, because she literally like fucking walks by the barn that the cow is in is like a stone's throw away, like out the window you can see him coming up out of the grave kind of thing, and like the whole time it looks to me,
I actually loved how that was framed though.
Yeah, it insinuates that like Yavatich is going to like drink the blood of the little girl, but like the whole scene was nothing happens. We were like, well, what was the whole fucking point of this?
I even had to like literally go back because I was like, wait, that's like completely, the way they set that up is completely like setting you up to think that it's an attack.
Yeah.
She like goes and there's like, she's like it's like almost a Snow White moment where she's kind of like
yeah, I
don't know where it is, like where this barn is, that she has to like literally walk like through bushes to get there. But it's like it's right there, and she comes in and she's like, hey Laura, I don't know why I just said that like Clarice Starling style. He's like, hey Clarice. No, she goes in and she's like, hey Lorraine, like the cow or whatever, like the cow's name is like Lorraine or Elaine or something like that. Which is great. I literally have a whole note. I was like, this fucking cow, it's so cute. But yeah, the way they frame it is she goes in and then she like it like pans over to this like window / crack in the wall, because it's like this big. It's like a letterbox, right? And then it pans back to her and then back to the hole, and then he's coming out of the grave. Which, yeah, if you've ever seen a movie ever, means that this chick is about to get attacked, and then just literally not one thing happened. Actually, we do get that kind of cool shot that I was referencing earlier. What the fuck is his name again? The dude,
Yavatich?
Her brother. Yeah, she's like, Yavatich, rise! And she like summons him brave. It's so good. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I love it. And you can also get that in Hocus Pocus as well. Like, you know, when Billy, whatever his name is,
Zachary. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so cool. But then
I think that's his name.
We get again more fucking vodka. They're like drinking this huge fucking chalice of vodka. I love it. It's so much.
But just vodka.
Just vodka. Like there's no mix and no nothing. It's all vodka. They only drink vodka or milk in Moldova.
That used to be a very quick side note. That used to be my party drink. I would show up with a 70 cl of vodka and a 2 liter of milk. That was my drink at parties. A, because nobody else ever wanted to like have any, so nobody was like, what's that? And it was good. I know the White Russians, they were also 16 and couldn't afford like Kahlua or whatever the fuck else you need from
Kahlua. Girl.
I'm fucking, I was 16. I wasn't fucking making cocktails and shit. I was drinking milk and vodka. So sick when you think about it. I know. Oh, whatever. It was good.
So, like, while all of this is going on, like, again, we get that huge, it's still very heavy German influence on most of this movie, and you get to the castle, and Yavatich, it's Yavatich, Nathan, get it right. he has like invaded the father's bedroom to like do the whole "I'm going to eat you now," and he pulls out the cross.
Yavovich is just Yavovich is just Yavovich, directed by Robert Eggers.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And this dude, can I like the amount of this is the makeup kind of thing that I wanted to point out is like this whole thing where Yavovich does appear is like deeply homaged in Suspiria. So you know the scene where Mother Suspiriorum is in the bed and she goes, "Behind that door is death, waiting. It's coming for you." And it's almost shot for shot without obviously Susie Bannion being in the shot. It's the father on the bed and the door slowly creeps open and he walks in, and I was like, I literally could not see anything else but Susie Bannion in terror at your one, you know, walking in, and I was like, oh my god, Dario Argento is referencing Mario Bava.
It is good though. I love drink every time we say German expressionism, but it's like I love the fucking it's just very, very classic horror to me, where it's like the door just like slowly creeps open.
Yes.
You know? Or you get a couple of scenes of like curtains or like a door with like just a set of hands like wrap around the edge. I'm like, oh, it's so campy and kind of like fun. I love it. It's like the kind of shit exactly. It's all the shit I enjoyed about horror when I was a kid. The like theatricality of it, you know?
We also get that with I literally like I keep forgetting her name, but it's the princess, right? I literally just this is while I was in Katya Zamolochkova. I literally call her the fucking useless princess plot device that faints every chance she gets. That's her name to me. And she also, like, that's exactly what you just said there, that in her bedroom, around, I think it's her bed curtains or something, there's black gloved hands, like, clawing at it. And so
again, it's Dracula. Everybody has a fucking veranda outside their bedroom. And like, okay, like we didn't even say this, like this whole thing takes place like literally like in a castle, like in this like family's castle, like from back in the day. Via
oh my god. I also have another note. So like Yavovich, before I even like I wasn't paying attention to the names because they were so fucking extra that I was like, you know what, no, I'm not bothered, I'm just learning you as this person.
Dr. Yabelskanovsky.
I literally learned this Dracula knockoff character as, who the fuck is this oddbod Dracula knockoff? That's who I called him as. And the fact is, they also have the witch and her brother as fucking portraits in the house. Why the absolute fuck, if you fucking hated these two people and you executed them, why would you have commissioned portraits of them still in your house? Why?
Well, see, the rules are weird because fucking Yavovich gets buried in the church grounds as like in the little like allocated area for murderers, right? But she gets buried in the family crypt. So it's kind of like I don't know. I kind of took it as like these are paintings that are just like from them. They just never took them down, you know?
Why?
I don't know. You know, I'm sure Hitler's mom has his fucking picture up on the wall from school.
Yeah, because Hitler's mom is still alive.
And he never had a mother, Nathan. So, wait, it's not a poem, even Hitler had a mom.
I don't know.
Whatever. Fuck that guy. Breaking news, Hitler is cancelled, everybody. Hitler is exposed. You'll never guess what he did to me on set. No.
Man, these tangents.
Hitler is evil, not clickbait. Yeah. Sorry, time. Hitler's a fucking dickhead. So today I'll be reviewing my cyanide, guys. If you will just focus. No more Hitler jokes for today. Where were we?
We're talking about the fact that the older doctor
Oh,
is
the
an
portraits.
idiot.
Yeah. These, like, 2 of 3 of these family members are having, like, visceral, like, physical reactions.
Yeah.
And, like, Kat is like, I don't even like to stand near that painting. Just get rid of them. But there's also curtains in front of them anyway. Just pull the curtain over. You don't have to look at it.
I specifically make reference that Kruvayan, who is the doctor, the older one, I literally just wrote down a log list. Kruvan's an idiot, Constantine is an idiot with a plot device, and then their father is an idiot who dies.
Oh, but he's gorgeous. Constantine is so pretty. Twinky little body. He's got chest hair and stuff. Gorgeous in the face.
They literally find Constantine, like, he's literally an idiot with a plot device. Constantine literally, like, quote unquote, accidentally sets on fire the fucking curtain beside the portrait, and it lights the whole fucker up in flames. And then they realize,
I don't think he did that.
Yeah, it fucking happened, and it like.
But he didn't do it. It was the like Final Destination. It was the wind, like some kind of thing. Like he wasn't even in the scene. There was like a bellowing in the curtains that like set them on fire, and then I think it's Constantine that comes over and like. It's not. It's their. He's credited as Devaya's manservant. That's his name. Ivan. He's their like dude who they constantly keeping like stay here, don't move. And they run out of steam, and then shit just happens to this guy. He comes in and he like swats it down or whatever like that, and then they just rip through this canvas to find a secret entrance next to the secret entrance.
Yeah, it's so like this is okay. So Ivan's the idiot with a plot device. So like this is another thing that I also pointed out to you was when like you also realize that hold on, if the witch had this plan, that means that the bitch turned around and was like, I want a secret stairwell, a secret hallway, a trapdoor with spikes underneath it that leads down into my crypt that you can switch the bodies with in 200 years time. Thank you very much. Leave the check on the door as you don't let the door hit you on the way out. That's literally what it was.
But also the crypt and the house are in like 2 completely different locations.
Yes, I know.
They have to get a horse and carriage from the crypt to the inn, which is by the house. But they're all in the same place. I don't fucking get it.
Man, this movie.
Also facing like this, like they're facing each other this way though, like on opposite ends of the village. That doesn't even work. God damn it, man! What were people smoking in the 60s?
The best.
What was Mario Bava smoking in the fucking 60s? Come on, bro. But damn, I just got lost.
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay, so basically, we're introduced to. This is the note I had about earlier. We're introduced to this like priest, right? Who is literally Karl Marx.
Yes.
He looks insane. That was my first fucking note where I was like, they got Marxism in this movie. This dude has, I literally just picture Karl Marx in like a monk outfit, in like a brown robe. It looks fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And again, this is just another kind of passive character that's just here. Doesn't actually do anything. Yeah. Actually, no, I lie. I take the piss. He does. Who do they? Boris. Yeah. Boris is found in the water by all these kids, by the innkeeper's daughter Sonia. She's like washing clothes or whatever, and they take the clothes off her and throw them in the river.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, it's there," and they're all chasing it. And this is where I had to like pause and be like, "Wait, like record scratch, like what the fuck?" There's just a body in the river, and I was like, who the fuck is that?
I was the exact same. I was like, wait, who is this person?
And not only for like a minute or two later where they're like, Boris is dead. And I was like, yeah, but who the fuck is Boris? Like, I don't fucking know her.
Oh my god. I still don't know. Who the fuck is Boris? Which person was that?
He's actually in one scene. He's in one scene and one scene only. It's where they're like, oh, go and get the doctor. Or when the father, the prince, is like going into shock or whatever like that, everybody leaves, and then Boris comes in and is like, embarrassed. And then that's his only other scene. And then he's just in the water. But I literally had to pause it and like rotate my head because the body is found. He's found like upside down, looking straight up at the camera that way.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, who the fuck is this? It's not even told to us like how he died. We're just told that he's found like decomposing.
Yeah.
And then they check his neck, but there's no bites.
Yeah. They just
I don't
like
fucking know.
I guess they drowned him and they were just like, nah, fuck it. Let's move on from the plot device again. It's just like not working.
But yeah, Karl Marx comes in. Karl Marx, the priest, is like, they like go and they like dig him up. Like him and the younger beautiful doctor are like going through the graveyard or whatever, and they're like, there, it's a freshly dug grave, and they kind of just like sweep off like the layer of dirt and open this coffin and stab him in his left eye, but they like show it like with juices and stuff. There's like it's like he stabs him and then he like pans up and he kind of just like like wipes off his hand or whatever like that. And then we find out like this is what you're supposed to do. That's how you're supposed to like kill a witch, is you stab her left eye out. Or like to break the witch's curse.
Yeah, so I actually did a little bit of research into that and I thought that was really interesting.
You did?
I did, yeah. And it is back in the mid-European kind of things, the whole kind of fear of it's like drowning a witch was supposed to either she was supposed to die or she was to float and survive. It's the same thing with the curse of a witch. So if a body
survived.
And it's the same thing that happens in Suspiria with one of the girls when she gets the 2 pins in her eyes. It's not a direct reference, but it's a reference to like what you're supposed to do with the body. When you stab out the left eye, it's not stabbing; it's just preventing the witch from turning her gaze, using the body to turn their gaze in a certain direction to be. It's like using them as a CCTV camera. Like you want them to know the witch is using the body as a reference point to find out what's going on, type of thing. So when you stab the eye, you prevent the eye socket from moving or turning in any direction, and then because it's directly through the iris, you stop it altogether. So you in a sense make the witch blind to what's going on around her, which is really interesting.
Actually, a lot of these come from the Malleus Maleficarum. Yeah, it's like it basically like the how-to on like to fuck witches up like back in the day, basically it's like the big book of fuck witches, and they kind of like it's also where we get like Maleficent's like name from and stuff like that. Like that's a direct reference to this, but it was basically like the fucking dude's guide to stop women back in the day, like, and had all these kind of like rules, and was kind of written like during what this like kind of takes place in is the like European burning of witches, like quote unquote burning of witches, like the attempts to kind of rid Europe and the world of witchcraft and Satanism at the time, you know?
Yeah. It was the Malleus Maleficarum was something that was how to instruct people like in the film The Witchfinder General, how to locate, torture, and kill all free-thinking women, and that was the purpose at the time, because what they had at the time of this, especially the whole witch-finding era, was you had a lot of free-thinking women, and paganism was women were worshipped as a route. As a route to get to heaven, whereas the church had a modern monopoly on that in salvation through Jesus Christ. So that immediately made women a huge threat to the church, and this was
one jealous because Jesus isn't sexy.
This is one of those things that really does solidify. Fuck the Catholic Church.
Yeah, for
moving on.
People are crazy. I literally cannot say that with any good faith. Like, look behind
Yeah.
me. If you guys could see, if you guys saw on this story last night, you got to see a little bit of my wall. I have like one wall that's like just crucifixes and like holy like trinkets and shit like that. I can't say shit. But also fuck Catholics.
We love a bit of Cher, though. I can see Cher in the background.
Saint Cher, yeah.
Saint Cher.
Right there.
Sang to a
Now,
lonely elephant.
the only reason I appreciate Catholics is because they know how to dress and decorate, whereas the Christians don't have a fucking clue.
Goddamn Puritans.
White robes for Easter, groundbreaking.
You could say that
Mary,
for...
you're wearing blue again.
You could say that for
Switch up,
Midsommar.
lady.
I'm gonna mark my words. I'll say that for Midsommar. Florals for spring, groundbreaking. Every 90 years, groundbreaking.
A May Queen in May.
Groundbreaking.
Yeah.
So this whole kind of plan culminates in the last. They sort of like you said earlier. This is where that whole kind of the plot has driven them to the situation. This is where the younger lad of kind of the whole thing kind of
The younger lad, Andre.
Yeah, that guy sort of takes more of a controlative role. And like he sort of takes command of the situation per se.
Oh, suddenly he's deeply, madly, and insanely in love with Katya, even though he met her not even a whole day ago. And and what he did was just see her with her dogs one time. She spoke to them a little bit, and he was like, "I own her. She's mine."
He is smitten.
I'm going to take that woman.
Smitten.
Also, he makes out with her, or he starts making out with her before she wakes up at the end, and then she wakes up.
Well, basically, the dad is dead. The butler is dead for some reason. He hangs himself outside the front door.
No, he is hung in more ways than one. Am I right, ladies? No, but there's a scene where they tell him, like, kind of like as we're getting to like the final like third of this movie, they're like, "Stay here again, because we pay you." And then we see a rope, just like a noose, just get like choked over his neck, and he's dragged out of frame.
Wow, called out the receipts there, I guess.
Well, yeah, murder and suicide are so different.
The father is also still not dead, though, because he is rises from the grave again as quote-unquote a vampire, I guess, and tries to drink her blood. Again, like, yeah, you're making that face, I'm like, yeah, I agree with you, because, like, neither of us fucking know what the hell is going on.
No, it's not very clearly explained. He's undead.
Yeah,
let's
he's
just
undead.
say, whether that's zombie, ghost, spirit, or vampire, the dude has come back from the grave a little bit further.
And he turns around and he says to his daughter, he says to Katya, like, "I'm not of your blood. I think he said the spirits have rendered that from me," or something like that. I actually think that whole kind of little bit of dialogue, that tidbit of dialogue that he had, is very poetic in a way, and I think it's really, really cool. But then, of course, he just gets picked up by Yavovovich Rasputin and is fucked into the fire. And I'm just like, whoa, that is fuck me.
The way this stunt is and everything, he kind of is literally just like swish, like thrown from the 3/4 from the 3 line or whatever like that, just thrown into the fire. But then he doesn't go in the fire, he lands next to the fire and then rolls over into the fire. And this fireplace, by the way, it probably wouldn't be worth mentioning in any other movie, but this fireplace is in basically every scene.
Yeah,
because this fireplace is like one of 2 secret entrances to the same place on the same wall.
Yeah.
You know, but but it's like this big kind of like dragon sigil in the back that is actually a door, but like this fireplace is so unnecessarily large for how small the fire is. The fire is like this big. It's like 2 logs at max, so people can just like walk around it behind it without it being like dangerous at all.
Yeah.
But actually, I do want to say very quickly, the effects in this movie are very good.
Yeah.
Are very good for the time.
Yeah.
We don't have any like weird, like shitty, like dissolves or anything like that. They actually play around with the lighting, and like decent dissolves. There's one I'll mention that when we get kind of like to the end, which I really like.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, but it's such a simple effect and it worked so well, but can only really be used in black and white. But we'll get to that.
But also this whole film was shot in monochromatic tones, and which is why it did extremely well. And how that works, I should also note that Bava was approached by American studios to essentially film this again but in color, and he flat out refused because he said the styles that he used, again like you just said, can't be done in color, or at least they can be done but they're not done convincingly enough to warrant doing it in color. And I think it's really brave of him to deny American cinema, which is essentially the world cinema, of doing that. And I think that's a really brave choice. And like artistically, this film is beautiful, and it stands out only further as it goes along.
Yeah, like we said at the start, it's like I think this movie would lose something if it was
in color.
Yeah, because like I said, the contrast is so stark. The blacks are ultra black,
and the whites are super white. Yeah, absolutely.
Even the costuming is kind of tailored to that. A lot of times they don't like super pay attention to like coloring in the costume in old movies. It's kind of more of like a textural thing, or like a different fabric or something like that. But a lot of the costumes in this movie as well, you can tell are tailored to be shot in black and white. Like Katia throughout this whole movie wears like a jet black dress with like white trim on, and it's really like stand out.
Yeah, it's her sort of wardrobe. That's actually something I think is really interesting, because obviously, I mean, she mirrors specifically her quote unquote ancestor from I think it was 200 years ago, and like it's very like almost like martyr dress. Does that make sense? Like it's just a gown with something tied around the waist, and I think at one point someone tears it as she's being sacrificed. I think they tear it.
Somebody tears it off, and then he goes to tear her like regular shirt off. I was like, there's a couple of times where they zoom in, and I'm like, this was so hot in 1960, where there's like they show like half of her cleavage on one boob.
Yeah,
next to like her necklace, and there is one scene she takes off her necklace, right? And then that's when we see the black hands. And then she never puts it back on, but it is back on.
Yeah.
It's just back up in the end of the movie, which saves her entire life.
I do know Barbara Steele actually did have a really tough time on set, because number one, this is one of her first films, so she was inexperienced with saying no to directors, and there were some points of time where she just flat out refused to be on set because she feared that Bava was going to use her in a way that over-sexualized her, and specifically because she plays a duality in roles, where she plays one where she's basically the damsel in distress essentially, and then the other one where she's a liberated Satan worshipper, yes, but she's a sexually liberated woman, do you know what I mean, coming back from the dead. So she was consistently fearing coming onto set, and some days she didn't even show up for filming because she feared that Bava would use her in semi-nude or just completely in a state of undress, and she did not want to be taken advantage of. I thought it was going to go
there a couple of times though, like that scene at the end where where Azza's simp brother is like, at the end where he snatches off her shirt, and I was like, they're gonna show her titties in this. I was like, they're gonna get fucking boobs out. And then we actually do get one kind of like inadvertent nude of her, where they're going through the back and the painting of her. That's
yes,
naked,
there is. There's a
where
painting. Yeah,
breasts, but it's only a painting.
Yeah.
You know, which they've never discovered these extra. Like, I actually don't understand how this ever works in movies where it's like, there's a whole extra house inside our house.
Yeah.
How the fuck you're looking from the outside? Where the fuck do you think all this extra room is? You think it's just hollows in the middle of your house?
Yeah.
Fucking dumb.
Yeah. I also think, like, again, that's where Yavitich meets his doom, per se, is he ends up getting thrown into a trapdoor that has spikes underneath it and dies. And then, sorry, actually, because Constantine was thrown in there by Yavitich.
Constantine crawls in there backwards.
Yes, right? He's like, what?
And then it's just in there. And then he snatches Mr. Simp down into there.
Oh my god.
And that's
then he
just
dies.
the end of him.
He dies, yeah.
Yeah, that's just the end of him.
Yeah.
Constantine comes out and he's also... Oh, Constantine also dies, though,
yeah,
doesn't
he does die, yeah. He dies just
in
right
a very
there. He's
kind of, like, relaxed way. He kind of just, like... Yeah, literally, he's like, save her, and then kind of just, like...
yeah.
like, lies down, and then is never referenced again.
And then we sort of, like, the last kind of, like, what? I'm going to say less than 10 minutes of this film. Because, like, again, films from 60s, 50s, 40s and all that, they kind of end very abruptly.
Boom,
but,
at the end.
Yeah, boom, kiss, we're done, the end.
Literally.
Because, like, this whole time, Katya, Aza has been kind of, how would you say it, like, sucking the life force, the essence, out of Katya, because she's been the predetermined how do you
vessel,
say it?
Kind of
vessel, yeah, for Aza's reincarnation.
She's possessing her.
Yeah. And I think this is what you were going to speak about, was that whole kind of slow fade between young and old.
Always love it. Yeah, there's this effect that goes between the two of them, and they actually use this shot. They use the shot of Aza getting younger at the end again to show Katya like also return to normal. But this method is done by you apply the makeup on in like a red or a blue tone, and then you turn up the blue lights or the red lights, and the effect will appear or disappear based on what color you use. And I think like it's so fucking smart, but it's also so simple. Yeah. Like it's so clever. And it actually doesn't look corny. I kind of remember like watching it last night. And like I'm an effects like makeup like nerd or whatever like that, so I'm kind of like aware of some of these techniques. But I was like, damn, this like looks really, really good. Yeah. Like it's not the this kind of effect I feel like would have been done before, kind of much in the way of like Lon Chaney turning into the Wolfman, where it's just one shot dissolved on top of another shot, dissolved on top of another shot. But no, I thought this was like very, very well done. And again, would have been impossible to do in color. Yeah. It wouldn't have been him.
Oh, absolutely.
And I really commend Mario Bava for like figuring that out, because again, he was director of photography on this movie, so he was on top of all of that. Yeah. Hats off.
They did, no, seriously, they did a really, really good job with some of the effects in this, especially in this next scene where Andre was his name, right? He comes back and Aza pretends to be Katya, and she's like, she doesn't have the cross on and blah blah blah, and then he just like rips open like the shroud or the shawl that she's wearing, and it reveals this kind of like decomposing cavity skeleton thing. Yeah, like Candyman chest. And it's so cool. And again, like this is obviously like the precursors of all that kind of really heavy, like the heart still beating in the chest, being stabbed.
Yeah, like I did not expect it to kind of show like there's gore in this movie. Yeah. Like there's like actual kind of like viscera and like liquids, and like I didn't expect them to kind of show that. Just because I knew it was so like it's basically a 50s movie, you know what I mean? It's like if it came out in 1960, it was probably made in 59. Yeah. But yeah, the Italians, they know how to do it. I was just like very, very impressed. And
Yeah.
it's good. I like this whole exchange at the end where it's kind of like a dun dun dun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they even do that.
Who's the evil twin?
They zoom into like her chest, like as she's holding it, and like they do that camera thing where they go right into the chest. I love it. I think that's so cool. And then what's his name? Karl Marx,
Andrew.
the priest.
Oh, Karl Marx
comes in with like just this like shitstorm of a lynching mob, and it's like, get her!
It's literally the
And they
lynch mob
get
from
her.
Frankenstein. Suddenly, everybody is riled the fuck up, and just because again, like people in this village kind of know, like they know that this is a whole thing, and like the first time this happened, they like kept like the bells tolling like for a whole day to like keep your evil spirits away and shit. But the way this ends is fucking hilarious. All these villagers show up and just like invade this castle, and she's like standing over there, like kind of in the corner in front of everybody. And Andre is basically just like, there she is, she's the witch, get her! And they all kind of do. And then she's kind of just dead. Like they kind of just burn her. And then it.
Yeah, I literally have the note saying the priest is like, grab her, and they grab her, a woman, a vampire woman, a witch vampire woman, and I go, love the burning.
Half vampire, half ghost.
I actually love this kind of like, I mean, I know the last shot is like Andre and Katya like embracing and kissing or whatever, but that shot where it's basically just a pyre and then a ladder with her at the top of it and the burning, and then they're all sort of encircling her in this weird kind of pagan yet not pagan Christian, you know, symbolism kind of thing. And I think that's
like
absolutely
hypocrites.
Yeah, like I think it's absolutely a beautiful shot. And I think if anything,
gorgeous.
that would be something that I would make as like the poster. If I was to make this as a poster again, that would be one of the shots that I would use for it. I think it's a really kind of beautiful shot. And then it ends.
The end.
The end.
Yeah, it's just the thing, like the credits kind of just like
Yeah.
come on the screen at the end, and that's it. And there isn't actually even any credits.
Yes, there's nothing. It's just that kind of circa stamp 19 something. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really I enjoyed this movie. I loved it. I think it was great. It's so funny. Great to watch.
What is it about us enjoying movies where people are burnt to death at the end?
Right? That's so
Good for
hot.
her.
I love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
That was Mario Bava's Black Sunday.
Oh, natural love it.
Naturally. Yeah, no, I had a great time. That was a great fucking movie.
Yeah, it really was. Watch it high, watch it sober, watch it drunk. Could let's watch this again like super pissed. I would love to watch this movie again and just tear out a new arsehole.
You know, if you're looking for something that doesn't drag on, it's fun. It actually feels almost like a long episode of like a television show.
Like Twilight or something.
Twilight,
you know the television series Twilight.
The Twilight
Zone. Sorry.
I was like, yeah, I guess. There's dead people in both of these things. You know, highly recommend.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. You should just give it a watch. It's on YouTube. Go watch
We're not going to link it because I don't want it to get taken down.
Yeah,
but
we
like,
don't want to.
There's more than one upload of this on YouTube.
Yeah. So, next week we have once again we're double fisting it this month with decisions left to you guys. We have our.
That's all I've ever known.
Leave the cash on the dresser.
Yeah.
So we have our topic discussion week, which is again the last Friday of every month. So you get to decide. We give you 2 topics, you decide, and then we discuss it. We're an episode where we rationalize our positions on the slab. So our first one is unintentionally scary childhood traumas. Basically, this is a theme where we discuss shit that wasn't meant to be scary, but absolutely terrified us as children. I love this one. And then we also have stupid decisions. Why are you doing that? Have you ever watched a horror movie, Lee, where there has been someone literally doing something where you're just like, that is literally the stupid decision. Why did you do that?
How many times have you heard me on the podcast say, what are you, fucking dumb?
So yeah, that's the reaction we have. So let us know. Make sure to sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, follow us on our Instagram account for daily content updates, future goals, and then obviously our voting system will be on the story. So make sure to follow and get voting, guys. Get voting.
Get voting. I really want to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's a film recommendation, if you have something that you want us to retrospect, by all means, give it a go, and we'll definitely
leave it in the comments. Just comment it on the thing.
Just comment below. Leave your input. We'd love to hear what you think. Don't forget.
My neighbor is looking at me from across the way, and I'm like gesturing into what appears to her to be nothing.
Don't forget to follow at Jemski_Flablowski, because for our amazing intro, we cannot thank you enough, Gemma. It is awesome. We love it. And then, of course, follow White Bat Audio as well for the original track, and make sure to follow him on YouTube. We will leave those links below, and yeah, get following. You've been listening to
They're Here
podcast.
Okay, guys. Unpleasant dreams.